Here we are. We're back. We are
We're,
back
we're back again
again.
for another
Again.
episode.
A gift found.
And be seen.
Yes, indeed, Monty. It's great to be back. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. We survived traveling through time. For some of us traveled through time. Others of us on the globe did not have to.
Well, that is a fact, my friend. That is a fact. Yes, Monty. Excited about the topic today.
Indeed. That is
Yes,
my
indeed.
my area of expertise, so to speak.
Your area of expertise, your zone, your thing, your vibe, whatever you want to call it. That's what you do. The Hub Style Advantage, transforming your web presence for success. Let's go. Yeah, we'll need your help with that, Monty.
Well, there's so many different ways to do it. It's options. You need to know what options you have.
Options. Yes, indeed. Options are great. So, Monty, we talk about this whole thing of Hub Style website. What comes to mind when you think about, like, what is a Hub Style website?
A Hub Style website, in a nutshell, it's just all things you. Just all the different things. You got stuff going on. Just the center points. You say, hey, look, I'm doing this over here. Hey, look, I'm doing this over here. Hey, I got these things down over here. Click this link here. Go over here. So it's not a sales funnel. It's a centralized point.
A centralized point. That's brilliant. And that's important because, I believe we're at a place right now, Monty, where a lot of us receive different teachings and different coachings and trainings about this is the way you got to do it, or that's the way you got to do it. But for some of us, people like me with my artist background, I need something like this because I feel like I don't want to be stuck in the box. If I'm stuck in the box, I don't want to do it anymore. I've learned that about myself, even over the last 3 to 5 years. So for someone like me, it's very refreshing to have.
Options. Being stuck in one thing, you have to do it this way. This is the only way to do it. There's a lot of stuff out there that is that way. So it's like, man, if I can find some, some other options for this way, I'm good. Or at least just knowing, maybe the way that you're being told is the best for you. But there's so many humans on the planet that there isn't any one method of any one thing, pretty much, other than breathing, that is good for everybody.
Right. And even with that, people breathe differently.
Well, they breathe differently, but that's a whole other topic.
It's a topic for camera confidence, perhaps.
Yeah, there you go.
That's true, though. It's good to have options. Yes. And so let's break this down. Let's talk first about the Author Hub. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, let me lead into that. It's like, okay, so I talk about a web presence hub, and then I've been hearing other people refer to other types of hub, and that's what brought up this whole topic. So the Author Hub was introduced to us during the book writing challenge. Right. And because it was a book writing challenge, it was centralized around being an author. And so you would have this Author Hub. And if you're just an author, that fits perfectly. But if you're an author and a coach, or an author and a course creator, or a coach and an author and a course creator, or what have you, you might have more spokes going on.
Right.
So you could approach it in many ways. You could have, well, here's my Author Hub with all my books. And then here's my Course Hub with all my courses. And but then how do you connect all those?
Right.
Another hub. You could do that too. That's right. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But the Author Hub is intended, so it could be whatever you want to name the type of hub. That's just going to be a concise specific focused hub about that topic.
Right. That's great. I mean, that's like I said, that's awesome because it's funny. I remember being, when I was focused on doing movies at a certain point, and I had a publicist. I hired a publicist, and she asked me, "What do you want to focus on? What is your main focus? The thing you want to be known for?" And it was hard for me to answer. And it's not that I'm everything, right? And there's an aspect to that I got to be careful where it's like, okay, you should have a focus to a certain extent, but there's another side of me that says, look, I couldn't articulate it then, but this is all ways in which I communicate. So it's like saying, hey, what is your favorite way to scratch an itch? That's a funny analogy, right? But maybe it depends on the day. I don't know. What am I going to do with that?
Depends on where the itch is, too.
That's true. It depends on where the itch is, because I can't. But for people like me, it's not one, but it's all itching. It's all taking care of that scratch that you have. You know what I mean? So even with what I do now, it's all communication, and so it's just what I do. Now I could say, look, this season I'm going to target this specific area if I have multiple ways I target or focus on. Like if I'm focused, I want to push my book now, or I want to push my coaching now. Well, I want to navigate to another element of my coaching. And this is like next level stuff, to be honest, right? But I know there are people out there who are like me, who may have that struggle. And if we can't have that option, it may cause us to pause and just be still and not move forward. And it's important to keep moving forward. So just knowing I have this option that helps me to, no matter what, I'm able to move forward. I'm able to keep traveling forward.
And you just mentioned there that you want to be able, and this is a hang up for people, you want to be able to promote a certain thing. And it's like, well, the hub is all things. So how do you promote a certain thing? It's like, well, you take the hub out of the picture. You're still going to do everything that you were going to do before. It's just now you have an area that when people want to stalk you, who is this person? Why would I want to? What do they know? Why are they doing what they're doing? What's their story?
Right.
That's where the hub comes. Because then they go to your Facebook and they're like, oh, hey, he's got a carlaleen.com. Well, that probably has got something about him on it. I'm going to click on that.
Right. That's true.
So there's a factor in the hub style is your name is one powerful way of having a URL, which works for lots of people. But then there's people who go to do that and they're like, somebody else already has my name. So you have to come up with something else. So it doesn't have to be your name. Don't get stuck on that either. It's like, hey, that would be cool. It makes it corresponds. But then again, do you have something else? Maybe you need something like thepresenceking.com.
Ooh, love it. Hold up, wait a minute. Do you know what I was about to do, Monty?
Yeah, you need to go check that. You need to go check that.
Go check it right away.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Yes. Look, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing that during the podcast anyway. Hey, look,
there you
that's
go.
What we do.
Get her done.
That's what we do. Get her done. Get her done.
But yeah,
I never thought about that. I never thought about that. Yeah, I never thought about that though. That's brilliant to do, and people will, and that does happen because there's so much going on the internet right now. So that gives you another option too. You could focus on that tagline or that thing of that essence, that the one thing about you that you can get a domain name for, and it could be a hub. Wow, love it.
And you can expand on that. So you have your hub and it has different stuff on it. Well, you can have them on different pages or in different sections or however you divide them out. So that way you can link directly to them. So you can have, in your case, carlaleen.com, but then you could also have videostarnation.com point to a specific page. So it'd be, you would type in Video Star Nation, but you would end up on carlaleen.com/Video Star Nation.
Right. Love it.
So again, it's you can promote to a specific section on your hub.
Yeah.
But the point of the
that.
hub is it's just saying, hey, I've got this cool stuff. You can find it over here. So if you're going to promote that stuff, you're probably going to promote over there.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to promote the hub. The hub's just going to sit there and tell Google how cool you are.
Love it.
There's the other aspect is if you would like to get found and be seen
on the you did right there
by anyone Googling certain phrases, then the hub helps you connect those things so that the phrases have relevancy and more weight, carry more weight.
Good night. So say if I wanted to have that, and I'm pretty sure we'll talk about this too, as a funnel per se, it might be a better practice for SEO reasons to say, hey, let me put this on my hub and just put the domain name straight to that.
Yes. And you would have to test it out, and there's a lot of variables involved, but there is something to look at and check into. Say, hey, if I put this here, does it add to my SEO? Mm-hmm. Particularly brick and mortar businesses. They definitely want to do that idea.
Got it.
But then there's also the backlinks idea too. Mm-hmm. But funnels don't link outwards. So you can't get any SEO from an external funnel. But if the funnel's on your hub, then you can index that page with the website, and therefore the keywords in the funnel will add to the entire website.
That is brilliant, man. I got that's a clap that's my insight clap. I got an insight clap right there. That's brilliant. And that's for me, someone like me, that's what I want. Because that's going to work to my advantage. Love that.
Yeah, so it's a framework around your keywords. If you don't have a keyword strategy, then this isn't going to add anything for you.
Got it. Okay.
So it's like, well, what is the intent here? There are people that are keen on keywords, and there are other people like, I don't care about SEO.
Right.
I drive traffic in other ways.
Got it.
So there's that first question. How much SEO are you interested in your scenario, what you're doing? And again, the brick and mortar are much more interested, but not entirely, because an entirely online business may want to come up under keyword searches too.
Got it. And in some ways, I kind of divvied off in our conversation, but I'm like, this is good. I got to talk about this real quick.
It still ties together with the hub, the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole point is there's a hub, and here's your options to connect your hub in different ways. Not here's the cookie cutter hub. This is the way you do it. It's like, no, there's the framework of a hub that connects things together now based on, again, on what you want to do and your target audience.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, you got me thinking. So, and so this kind of ties into the next question, because that's what a great practice. But what are some of the best practices for any hub style websites?
Well, that's a segue in there. Your target audience. So the user experience involved in that. User experience versus user interface. A lot of people mistake those two, UX and UI. What's the difference? Well, that's a whole different topic, whole different show. But in a nutshell, what we're talking about here is user interface is the actual physical thing. What am I clicking on? What do I interface with? What do I engage with? Mm-hmm. And the traditional method of that is, well, I need to have the ability for people to get anywhere from here, which is difficult because anywhere is a gajillion different places. So now we have all these different navigation things and drop downs and buttons, and it's super busy. And so the interface has everything. It's super, the difference between efficient and effective. It's super effective. but it's not very efficient because people go there and they're scrolling around. They're trying to figure out, where do I need to go? What's the thing I need? I'll hit the search, and now I've got all these blog posts and all this stuff, and I don't know where to go. And the user experience stinks. So I try to look at it from the user experience first, and then bring in the interface into how is the interface going to enhance the experience.
Love it. Wow.
That's so clever, the first way of doing that is having categories. Start categorizing stuff out. Is it going to be author, courses, trainings? What is it? Is it, widgets and gizmos? And if you're a retail store, there's got to be some sort of structure for the hub, so that
right.
It makes sense to people, and it's not going to overwhelm them.
Right.
And then there's the different size buttons, and there's a Goldilocks zone, because if things are too small, then people can't click on them, can't read them. If they're too big, they take up so much space, so much real estate that you're scrolling a whole bunch. Then you have to. It's like, okay, well, that's on the big screen versus the phone, which is resizing it, and so there's a lot of stuff to look into there. There's not. This is the best way to do it. Because, I got a bunch of young people in my group. I can make little tiny buttons. They don't care. They just look at their those. It's no big deal. I do it on my phone all the time.
From their phone, yeah.
Like, well, it's you got people like me in my category, a whole bunch of people, and they're like, I don't want to do it on my phone. I want to have it on the screen, and I want to see as many options as possible on the screen at once without scrolling. So I got a 42-inch screen.
Right.
So I can see a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
So coming back to that target audience, knowing the target audience and tailoring the experience to them, even on your hub. But it's my hub. It's all about me. Well, yes, but again, how do you want to portray yourself? As a busy, unorganized, confusing, overwhelming person, or a fun, go-to, concise, focused type of person?
Right. Yeah, I love that. Love that.
So then, it's like buttons, size of buttons, some images. If you can get images that I relate is the word I had, but there's a better word out there. It's just not coming to my mind. Is the image needs to represent the category, or needs to represent the thing. Because what we're trying to do is make the hub less reading. The hub isn't about informing people of the topics, about the details of the topics. They're just informing people of the topics. And if you want more, this is where you go, because you already got that. And if you don't, it's a placeholder saying, if you want more, sign up here, get on my newsletter, or check back, whatever, something.
Right. Yeah, that's good, man. That's very insightful, because you don't know. Sometimes people put it up by, even for me, my background, even how I treated websites, it was like, okay, just do it by instinct, or how you think you would like, or what, like you said, about me. What picture would be best? What picture would best represent me? Oh, my feel on it. It's not all about that.
And there's a little bit of that. You want to be authentic. Yeah. You want to be authentic
you
and real, and be you.
Right.
But you can look at it from my point of view projecting, or from their point of view of receiving.
That part right there.
It's two different angles.
Right.
And if you can see both sides of it, then you have more power to link it.
Good balance.
Yeah.
Right. And then, I'm pretty sure, like you say this too, like you want to be able to test it out too, see what works and what doesn't work.
Right.
Get feedback as fast as possible.
Yep. Absolutely. And changing the hub is not something that is static. You don't set up a hub and say, there we go, it's good to go. It's like, well, but now you're doing something slightly different. Now you've evolved and grew, and
Right.
your hub needs to reflect that. I was just saying
Right.
that right before the show to you. It's like, oh man, I haven't done anything on my hub for like several weeks. I need to get in there and update that thing, because in several
Right.
weeks' time, boy, lots have changed.
So much. Yeah, and things are just going at such a fast pace. Things change very often, so fast.
I mean,
Not every 6 months. Time.
time changed.
Yeah. Time changed recently, right?
Well, for some people,
Perfect. Oh, that's true. Okay.
we'll have to elaborate that we just experienced the daylight savings time. There are some people in the United States that don't acknowledge that. And then there's other
Right.
people in other parts of the world that don't acknowledge that either. So it makes it fun and exciting. Makes jet lag when you're not even going anywhere.
Right? Gotta figure it out. Gotta get in the same page.
That's right. But bottom line, with a hub, it's you just want to make it easy peasy.
Right.
Here's my stuffs, and that's where you can go, because
Yeah.
you put all the time and effort into making that funnel and to making that course and to making that training and to make those things that you're directing people to, or that you want to direct people to. And essentially, back again, it's like the hub's not for its big job is not directing traffic. Its big job is to be there when people start searching back the other direction. They see your marketing, they go to your funnel, but before they buy anything from you, they want to learn about you. But the funnel doesn't have anything about you, because that's not its purpose.
Right.
So you give them the ability to hunt you down, because in a funnel, the strategy is you don't want to lead them away anywhere. There's lots of people that don't need to do that. They just need to finish the funnel. But for the folks that go partway through a funnel, they look at the price, they look at what you're giving, and now they want to know, yeah, you said you have these credentials, but do I have a rapport with you? Do I resonate with you?
Right.
Do you drive me batty with the way you say these certain things over and over and over?
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to know these things ahead of time. So you get the hub. So you can go over there and you go, hey, this guy's cool. Look what else he does. Look at all these things. No wonder he's teaching this class.
Right. Right. Love it. Love it. Make it easy peasy. So could you elaborate on the user experience versus the user interface?
Well, I think I covered that one, Carl, right at the beginning there. Pretty much. There isn't much more to talk about it. I think the keep it simple of the user interface, user experience is seeing it from both sides and making sure that you use the user experience to design the user interface. Not make the user interface and then try and make it appealing for the user.
And that even, I'd say, would you even say that even applies to even when you're doing your updating, since things are moving so fast?
Right, because then you're going to get feedback and you're going to find out that people are telling you, hey, I'm not finding this as easily as I'd like to, or you don't have this on there, or I click on this thing and it takes me the wrong place. It's like, oh man, I want that feedback. I need to know those things. The only way I can improve.
Right. I love that. I'm going to apply that actually with my hub. That's very helpful. And that encourages me to start initiating the questions. Hey, what do you think about this web hub or this site? I'll say, of course, got to say in that vernacular, but get that feedback and be able to update accordingly. Because one of the things I love doing is getting feedback from people. Because if I get feedback, it's like I got this from being a DJ, ironically. Because a lot of DJs would be like, hey, I'm gonna play this song. I know people love this song. I'm like, look, what do you want to hear? And they tell me, and they have the times of their lives. Of course, they told me what they wanted. So I use that application with this in this arena. Hey, what do you think about it? What do you think about the buttons? What do you think about the links? So that's super helpful, Monty. That's great.
Yeah, you can take that even a step further. It's like, what would you like? What would make it easier for you to access this stuff?
I love it.
Because again, it's like, I think this way, but other people think in different ways.
That's good, man. I'm so glad you elaborated on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's probably the most important thing about any website, any web page, any funnel, anything, anywhere, is the user experience side of it.
Yeah.
And the balance involved, because there's the proven tactics and my target audience.
Right.
It's like, are those proven tactics applied to the same target audience? So if so, then you're probably pretty good to go just as is, not much modification necessary.
Are you saying there's not always going to be cookie cutter?
Yeah, that's the obstacle and roadblock I keep coming against, helping people, is that they feel like that it's supposed to be cookie cutter. Everything's supposed to be cookie cutter. I'm just supposed to be able to get this thing and do and move forward. It's like, but there's the thing, and then there's these variables involved. It's not just do.
Right.
It could be. You see, but there's that, and there's the trip up. It's like, oh yeah, there's the bot. Just fill those in. Okay, and you move forward. But then you experience the user experience or lack thereof.
Gotcha.
And it was because we plugged these things in, thinking about this side of it, and not thinking about this other side of it. So there's probably several of them, but the tool that I'm familiar with is Microsoft Clarity, and it's free. You sign up for it, you put a little piece of code on your website, and then you can go and watch people on your website, where they're going, what they're clicking on, how long they're staying there.
Yeah.
And if they're clicking on something over and 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 over because they think that should go somewhere. They call that rage clicking.
Rage clicking.
Yeah.
A youth would love that. Rage. No, I'm sorry.
That shows up on your analytic thing so that you can analyze that and go, oh, that user is not having a good experience. Why is that? Are they clicking on something that they think should go somewhere but doesn't? Maybe I should make it go somewhere. Are they clicking on something that should go somewhere and it's not? I need to fix that.
Yeah.
And that user experience. I have so many times that I go to some website and I click on something and it doesn't work right. It's like, well, how long has this been like this?
Yeah.
Obviously nobody's complained about it, or haven't complained enough, or to the right people, or I don't know, some sort of disjointed communication going on there. But somebody wasn't on top of their user experience.
Yeah. And that could be so easy. From someone like me, that could happen so easily.
Oh,
with
absolutely.
all the other things you have to do. So
especially when you start getting, if you have a hub, that means you have other things. So then you're doing that one and that one and that one and this one. It's like, whoo, it gets a little overwhelming, one step at a time.
Right. A lot going on, but one step at a time, Monty. Any advice to share when using web style websites?
Hub style websites. Web style hub sites.
Hub style. Wild West.
HubSpot.
Right. Hub style websites.
Again, it's that falling back on user experience and falling back on my target audience and how can I deliver value the most efficiently.
Right.
So I'm spending the least amount of effort myself.
Yeah.
And they're spending the least amount of effort. I think that's probably the disjointed disconnection that people when they're in marketing mode, they're trying to get traffic to their website, and they're not thinking about, well, what happens to the traffic when it gets there?
Yeah.
And what's the best way that I can engage that traffic and keep them there so I don't get bounce backs, which is when people just hit the back button or hit the X and close the page out and Google looks at that and says, "Oh, that's bad. That's a demerit on your score."
Right.
You want them to go to the so you want to drive the right traffic so they're interested, and then you want to engage them so that they stay. And the best way to do that is to make sure that what they want is dead center, and that they can navigate whatever it is. If it's a funnel, they're just scrolling. But if it's a hub, they may be going to different places, all depending.
Yeah. No, that's important. And I appreciate that. You got me thinking, man. I'm like, I got some updating to do on my end. It's a good thing, though.
It's that testing and trying it out, but
Right.
don't get too overwhelmed.
Right.
You got to look at, okay, well, what kind of difference is this going to make? How much effort to how much difference?
Right. One thing I say too, Monty, is I find it hard. One of the challenges I find, one of the roadblocks I find is for myself and even clients and people I've encountered too, it's so easy to want to get to your destination, but this is one of those things that's a process, right? But to be able to have the mindset to say, okay, this is part of the process, but it's going to help you to get to your destination. So it's worth it to take the time, especially if you're focused on SEO and stuff like that. But also, if this is something that you need, it's worth it to take the time to say, you know, let me at least examine this, and at least find a system in which I could examine it and keep moving forward and moving on, or hire someone to do it for me.
So there's the key is not allowing it to stop you. It's I need to do this user experience thing, but how do I get the feedback unless I get it out there first? So it's not hey, make sure that you have it lined up perfectly before you publish it. You know, it's hey, I need to say what's going to work good. Let's try that out.
Right.
No, don't get hung up. Just try it out. Get that feedback and find out. And maybe even, you know, maybe you've got more than one idea. So put the first one out.
Right.
And then change it and specifically ask, which version do you like better?
Ooh.
To the people that have already been there.
Maybe do a version contest. Woo!
You could do that too. You could do that as a before you change it. Just that's your post out on social media. It's like, we're looking to do an upgrade. Vote for your favorite.
Right. I love that. And people love to engage like that.
Right. That's again,
That's
that's
super
getting
helpful.
the engagement. And then, you know, inevitably, even if you just give them two up, do you like this layout or this layout? Pardon me. A or B. And you'll get people to give you 3 paragraphs about stuff that they would do differently.
Right. Where
And
some
that's
people
good.
might look at that as it's a good thing. Some people might say, come on, you're being a smart aleck. But I'm like, hey, bring it on.
That's feedback.
You know, it's feedback. And here's the thing, Monty. I remember years ago, probably 2011, around that time, I had to pay money for the market research. And this right here is market research. And it's free.
And it's your target audience. The market research that you pay for may or may not be fully aligned with your target audience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's across the board, and it will do a generalized job for a lot of people, and for some people to do a perfect job.
Right.
But there's another one of those things that it's like, well, my user experience, my target audience, is this technology the right tool for me and my usage?
Exactly. And that's a great point you make, because even when I did my market research, I knew that it wasn't exactly what my audience was thinking, but it's what I had at the time. So this is the closest I can get. That was my mindset. But now I'm like, this is one of my favorite types of market research, because I'm like, I'm getting specific information from my target audience and potentials. If I wanted to go in a different area, if I wanted to pivot. So good stuff.
So also, you know, I have a client who was asking me this idea, and they are very diverse. So we're talking about, they do computer cybersecurity classes, and they're an artist that sells their art. So artist, as in, that can mean a lot of stuff. That's pretty general.
Right.
Like, an artist of the traditional classic, what most people think of when they hear the word artist.
Got it.
I do paint. He's a painter artist. He does paintings,
okay.
and I think sculptings. But anyway, the point being is that a far cry from computer security.
Yeah.
So the Web Hub gives them the ability to have a place when people go, they're like, hey, what's this cybersecurity guy? What's his credentials? It's like, oh my gosh, he's got all that. Plus, he's an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you want your target audience to resonate with you. So those are things that can inspire huge resonance. The stuff, your interests and other things that you do. Because then they line up. They're like, oh man, I like this stuff too. Now we got two things in common.
Right. It's cool because I love that. That's my jam, because it's like my jam, my track, my zone. Because I have people from the movement side of things, dance and movement, and they see the other things I do too, the camera confidence, the presence on stage, and they're like, oh wow, that you have all of those experience from the entertainment industry. Wow, you have a different advantage, or you have a different outlook on what I'm going towards, and they'll come from that community into this community, this other community, and they can see all the stuff on my Web Hub. So it's very helpful. But what I find though, Monty, is that when I see that and I'm getting their feedback, it helps me to bring together what I'm trying to ultimately bring together, which I couldn't even articulate in the first place.
And there's that test. It's like, here, I'll try and explain it to you. Oh, that sounds cool. What about this? What about this? Oh, let me try and explain it to you better. I mean, that's basically communication in a nutshell, no matter what you're doing, whether you're building a website or you're building a course or you're just talking to someone.
Right. Good stuff, man.
And it all centers around the web style, or the hub style web presence. The web style hub presence. Boy, I love mixing stuff up. That's a residual from my kids growing up, and I was always trying to mix up words and sentences to make them think.
I love it.
Now
web
it's just
web style.
It's second nature. I just mix stuff up all the time, or I just mix stuff up all the time. I don't know, whatever. It's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. Monty, is there anything else that you'd like to add to our conversation today? This was a great one. This was rich. This was so helpful. And it's a reminder that this is an option that's out there for people. And it could benefit some. Others, maybe not. But for a lot of people like me, I think it could really benefit them.
Again, it's that analyzing. Here's a strategy. And here's what I'm doing. Here's my strategy. And here's this strategy. Do these strategies align? And do the whole synergy thing where they're now better together than they were individually, and therefore then yes, let's add that strategy in. But like you said, maybe not. Maybe somebody else is like, yeah, but that means that I have to do a whole other website, a whole other things, and blah, 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 and I don't have the bandwidth for that.
Right.
That's okay.
It's cool.
It's not if you don't do this, your web presence will suffer and die. No,
right.
This is just another way of using technology. And it's really a great way of connecting with people on a deeper level.
Agreed, 100%. Agreed.
Because like I said, it gives them the opportunity to see you rather than the thing you're selling or the thing you're promoting or the thing you're talking about.
Right.
And they're gonna that's the first step. They're gonna say, hey, I'm interested in that. Let me find out some more. And then if you fall back into the whole 7-11 42, or I don't know what the numbers are, but the point being, the more content they consume, the more likely they are to enter your community.
Right.
And the Web Hub gives them the opportunity to consume a whole bunch more material.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Well, Monty, this was good stuff. I
It's
think
fun.
you about said it all. And I love today's conversation. I'm going to go back and I got to reflect on some of this.
Yep. See what'll work for you.
Right. Good. Yeah, good. Great content. Well, Monty, let me ask you a question. So if they want to know more about this Hubstyle, did I say it right? Hubstyle websites.
Yes, you were on target.
Yes. Webstyle, WowStyle, any kind of stuff. Just kidding. Where can they go?
Well, oddly enough, they can visit my hub at montyarmstrong.com.
You have a hub? What?
Imagine. I practice what I preach. I practice a one-page hub with different sections.
Mm-hmm. You eat your own cream of wheat.
But if you want an example for a different kind of hub of all things Carl per se, that uses a different multi-page hub style setup, where can they find that one?
They can go to carlaleen.com where they can see all things Carl, from the entertainment side of things, the edutainment side of things, on camera presence, and on stage presence. The Presence King. Go to carlaleen.com. You like that?
That was smooth. I like it.
I felt like it was smooth. I felt like I was getting into a groove and a vibe. You know, I felt, this is great.
That was that spontaneous thing. No script involved.
Spontaneous, kind of like beating in a Cadillac. Not a Buick. Buicks and Oldsmobiles were cool, but I'm talking about a Cadillac. Smooth. Can I go old school real quick?
Do it.
Cadillac Eldorado. Woo!
Eldorado. Back in 72, when they had automatic dimming lights.
Ooh. Oh.
Back in 72, they were ahead of their time. Now it's
ahead of their time.
That's commonplace. Back in 1972, that was like Jetsons.
Yeah, smooth.
Taking us back.
Taking us back in time. But yesterday kind of took us to a different time. Anyway, that's all for now. You've been listening and watching another episode of Get Found
and Be Seen.
And we'll talk to you later.
Have a good one. Have a great week.
Have a good one. Bye, everyone.